morning and welcome to The Brief. Here are the stories that are trending this morning. Presidential Commission of Inquiry obtained statements from former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Shooting at the Kadwala Magistrates Court. President calls for uninterrupted investigations into avant-garde, and the US dollar hits new high against the rupee. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa provided statements yesterday to officials from the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into serious acts of fraud and corruption.
Officials from the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into serious acts of fraud and corruption visited the residence of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa in Midihana to obtain the statement. Secretary of the Commission, Lasil De Silva, said a statement was obtained with regard to an incident where financial loss was incurred by a state-run media institution when airing election propaganda material during the presidential election.
6 regulations of the number 36 appropriation bill of 2013 presented by the finance minister was taken up for debate in parliament yesterday. However, the opposition raised its objections over the matter.
We discussed this matter at the party leaders meeting. We are willing to give another date.
No debate today. So let's have a debate. No, you want to move it without a debate, we will adjourn. That's okay.
මේක ආරම්භ කළා ඡන්ද ගන්න එක ඊළඟ සැරේ කරමු. ඕන්නම් අපි 6ට කරමු. එමේ ඔබතුමාට ඇති අයිතිවාසිකම් නැහැ. කරුණාකරලා වාඩි වෙන්න. ටිකක් අහගන්න. වට්ටක්ක ගෙඩිය.
We cannot go there and interfere in this matter. We are ready to give any amount of time needed.
Honourable Speaker, it clearly states in clause number 36 of the 2013 appropriation bill that changes could be made to this in Parliament only before the 31st of May. So according to the appropriation bill, these changes cannot be made.
Because of various happenings at various instances, we might not be able to get this passed. What we are trying to do is to give an opportunity to create a debate on how the country's economy can be improved. But now a section of the opposition is saying, no, we don't need it, we don't need it. What this country has today is an autocratic opposition and a democratic government.
If you are deciding this through a vote, call for a vote.
But you can't proceed without the consent of the House.
Shots were fired at a suspect who was brought to the Kadwala Magistrates Court last morning. Meanwhile, 2 suspects who were in remand custody had fled the scene during the commotion.
The suspect, 29-year-old Arunadamit Udayanga alias Samayan, is a resident from the Ranala area. He was in remand custody over a homicide in Kesalvatha and a shooting in Navagamua. The shooter had opened fire at the suspect at the court premises and fled the scene. This is a photograph believed to be of the suspected shooter. Police said that a 9mm pistol was concealed in a bandaged arm and thus used to carry out the shooting.
Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, speaking at the cabinet media briefing yesterday, revealed that President Maithripala Sirisena had provided special instructions to continue uninterrupted investigations into avant-garde. An official attached to the Sri Lanka Ports Authority said that the Mahanura vessel with a floating armoury anchored at the Galle harbour was released from its custody. He went on to say that the vessel is being dealt with as an ordinary vessel that reaches the harbour. He added that the operations of the vessel are continuing as before. When Newsfirst contacted the spokesperson for the Sri Lanka Navy, he said that as legal proceedings are underway over the weapons aboard the Mahanura vessel, he cannot make any comment on the matter. When Avant-Garde Maritime Services was initiated, Admiral Somathilaka Dissanayake was serving as the commander of the Sri Lanka Navy, and he later served as a consultant to the company. He pointed out that the Sri Lanka Navy earned a higher revenue on maritime security before that task was handed over to Avant-Garde Maritime Services. The former Navy commander said that under the agreement reached between Avant-Garde and Rakna Arakshaka Lanka, which functions under the Ministry of Defence, a sum of $1,000 was to be paid to the Sri Lanka Navy for each group. According to Admiral Dissanayake, the Navy commanders who were appointed later on had held discussions with Avant-Garde and the profit percentage to be given to the Sri Lanka Navy had been reduced. Our attempts to contact the chairman of Avant-Garde or any official from the company for a comment on the matter proved futile. With the central bank's decision to float the exchange rate of the rupee against the US dollar, the value of the rupee has depreciated to record lows.
It is the normal process for the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to get involved in order to bridge the shortfall faced when carrying out daily foreign transactions, including importations, by bridging the shortfall through reserves in order to keep the country's exchange rate stable. Economists argue that even though this is a short-term solution, it does not help the country in the long run. On the 4th of September, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka stopped its intermediation in the market rate of the rupee and allowed the exchange rate to be floated. The dollar, which was valued in the 135 rupee range in the first week of September, has now risen to 142 rupees. According to the currency exchange rates released by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka as of today, the value of $1 stood at 142 rupees and 92 cents.
That's a wrap of the brief today. I'm Mahina Bongzu for the Newsfirst team, reminding you to stay briefed.